Hello everyone and welcome back to Tom and AJ's Journey to America. Before we get started on this video, we have a really exciting announcement. We have just launched our Instagram page. It is at journey_2_America. Please go check us out. A link will be in the description. So let's get into this video. So in this video, we're following on from our last video. Our last video was the intro to linear equations. And so now we'll be doing some harder linear equations. So we'll be looking at the distributive law, which you guys may or may not have learnt, and just looking at harder examples of linear equations. So without further ado, let's get into it. So our first question, 3 plus 10x minus 5 equals x times a plus 1 minus 2. And so here we have x times a plus 1. So this uses the distributive law because we multiply what's out, and the dot means a multiplication sign. It's a multiplication sign. And we put these lines here so to mean that x is being multiplied by 8 and then x is multiplied by 1. And we add those two terms together. So let's use the distributive law to open up these brackets. So rewrite the equation. So 3 plus 10x minus 5. 3 plus 10x minus 5 equals, so x times 8 is 8x plus x times 1 is x minus 2. And now what we want to do is we want to collect like terms. So we have 3 and minus 5 because they can be added together. So 3 and minus 5 and 8x and x because they can be added or subtracted together. And now, so 3 minus 5 is minus 2. Let's change the color. So we have minus 2 plus 10x. And then we have 8x plus x is 9x minus 2. And what we want to do is we want to add 2 to both sides. We get rid of the minus 2. So let's add 2. And then they cancel out. And we have 10x equals 9x. And then we want to move the 9x to the other side. So we have 10x minus 9x equals 0. And then 10 minus 9 is 1. So we have x equals 0. And like you guys learned in the previous video, we can check our answer. So we can substitute x 0. So let's rewrite this equation. Instead of using x, we use 0. So let's just give us a little bit of space. And so 3 plus 10 times 0 minus 5 equals 0 times 8 plus 1, close bracket, minus 2. So let's use the distributive law to solve these brackets. We have 3 plus 10 times 0, and anything times 0 is 0, minus 5 equals 0 times 8, which is 0, and 0 times 1 is 0. So we have 0 minus 2, and we can get rid of those zeros. Yep, and we get 3 and minus 5 is minus 2, and with minus 2 and minus 2. And this is correct because minus 2 equals minus 2. So therefore, our answer is correct. X equals 0. So let's move on to our next question. So this one, we use the distributive law a lot because there are lots of brackets. So let's draw up our lines here. So we got 2x, 2 times x and 2 times minus 1, minus 3 times x and minus 3 times minus 2, 4 times x and 4 times minus 3, and then 2 times x, 2 times 5. So let's use the distributive law here. So we have 2 times x is 2x. We have 2x, and 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. And we have minus 3 times x is minus 3. And minus 3 times minus 2 is 6 because the negatives cancel each other out. And we have 4 times x is 4x. And 4 times minus 3 is 12 equals 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 5 is 10. And so on the left-hand side, we want to collect like terms. So let's change our color. and we have minus 2 plus 6 and minus 12. And we also have 2x minus 3x plus 4x. Probably, and so let's do this. Let's probably use a different color because it's much easier to understand. Yes. So, and if you guys are solving these equations by yourself, I use this all the time when I'm solving linear equations, or when there's just any like terms. I use this because it's so much easier. So let's go. So 2x minus 3x plus 4. So we 2x minus 3x is minus x, plus 4x is 3x. So we're left with 3x. And then let's work with constants. We have minus 2 plus 6 is plus 4. And we have minus 12 is, so minus 2 plus 6 is 4, minus 12 is minus 8. Am I right there? Yes, awesome. Equals 2x plus 10. So now we want to isolate all the x's. So let's get rid of the minus 8 on that side. So we want to add 8 to both sides. And we're subtracting, yep, equals, and then we want to subtract minus 2 from both sides as well. And so we're left with minus 3x minus 2x equals 10 plus 8, so which is 18. And so we simplify this down to 3 minus 2 is 1, so we're left with x equals 18. Awesome. So now let's go on to our next equation.
So once again, we start using the distributive law, and what we need to do is 2 times 3, which is going to be 6, and I'll explain that afterwards, 2 times 4x, and we'll also do it to our right hand side, which is going to be 5 times 1 and 5 times minus x. So now let's start with expanding the brackets and then simplifying the equation. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4x is going to be 8x. Minus 2 is going to be stay the same. And then 3 minus 5, we will look at that afterwards. First, we need to use the BODMAS, which is going to be 5 times 1. So I'll write the 3 there, and then minus 5. And minus is going to be a positive, so it's going to be positive 5x. Okay, so now we have an expanded version of this equation. Now what we need to do is we need to simplify it by collecting the like terms. So I'll use a different color for that. So 6 and minus 2, and now we have 3 and minus 5, and we'll leave the x's for later. So 6 minus 2 is going to be 4 plus 8x is equal to 3 minus 5, which is going to be minus 2 plus 5x. Okay, now what we need to do is what I'll do is subtract 5x from both sides. So I'll subtract 5x from here. I'll subtract 5x from here as well. So it's going to be 4 plus 8x minus 5x is equal to minus 2. Now, because this constant 4 is over here and there's a constant 2, I'll just quickly, because it's a positive, and if it goes to the next side of the equation, it will just become a negative. So it's going to be 8x minus 5x is equal to negative 2, negative 4. So now this equation looks much more simpler. So 8x minus 5x is going to be 3x, because 8 minus 5 is equal to 3. And minus 2 minus 4 is just going to be minus 6. So now we have 3x is equal to minus 6. And we all know that minus 6 upon 3 is equal to minus 2. So x is equal to minus 2. And that is going to be the value of x for this equation. So let's get on to the next equation. Okay, now this equation is a bit more complicated, but it uses the same principle, and it will be fairly easy afterwards. So what we need to do is, first, what I like to do is, because this is easier, I'll get the lowest common multiple and add the right hand side. So I'll write down the equation again. A upon 3 minus 5 upon 3 minus a minus 3 upon 4 is equal to 3 upon 4 plus 1. Okay, so now if I have my working out space, well, it's really good to have your working out space so it doesn't mix with the equation. So 3 upon 4 plus 1. Now, if we know a whole number is just 1 upon 1, so we can get the common denominator by making it 3 upon 4 plus 4 upon 4. How did I get that? By timesing both the numerator and the denominator by 4. So 3 plus 4 is just going to be 7 upon 4. So now we can rewrite the equation by saying a upon 3 minus 5 upon 3 minus a minus 3 upon 4 is equal to 7 upon 4. Okay, so now this equation is a lot simpler. Now, as we can see, 5 upon 3 is also a constant and with 7 upon 4. So what I'll do is put this 5 upon 3 over to the right-hand side. And when we do that, the negative sign, which is right behind the 5 upon 3, will turn into a positive. So let's rewrite this equation, but probably in a different color. So a upon 3 minus a minus 3 upon 4 is equal to 7 upon 4 plus 5 upon 3. Okay, now what we need to do is get these denominators into the lowest common denominator. First, I'll do the right-hand side because it's much easier. So 4 and 3, the common denominator will be 12. So 4 times 3 is 12. So because I times make this the denominator, so we need to, whatever we do to the denominator, we also need to do to the numerator. So we'll times this by 3 as well, and we'll times this by 3 as well. So it's going to be 21 plus 15 over 12, which is going to be 6 because 5 plus 1 is 6, and then I get 1 plus 2, which is 36 upon 12, which is also going to be 3. I may have done that a bit wrong. Have I? No, I think I've done it right. Cool, it's right. So 36 upon 12 is going to be 3. So we can write this equation a upon 3 minus a minus 3 upon 4. I'm sorry we have to write this equation down, but if you want to be careful and if you want to get the right answer, probably do it step by step. Now we do the left-hand side, which is going to be 3 upon 4. We already got the lowest common multiple, which is going to be 12. And now we need to just times this by 4, which is going to be 4a, and we'll times a of minus 3 upon by 3 as well. So it's going to be minus 3a, and minus minus becomes positive, so it's going to be 9 is equal to 3. Okay, so now what we have is a 12 down here and a 3 down here. So what I'll do is 4a minus 3a plus 9 is equal to 3 times by 12, because if you get the 12 to the other side of the equation, the division becomes multiplication. So it will be 4a minus 3a plus 9 is equal to 36. Okay, so now we can get the constants out of the way as well. So let me write the equation down here as well. 4a minus 3a plus 9 is equal to 36. So now I can get 4a minus 3a, which is just going to be an a, and the 36 minus 9, because the number just goes here and becomes a negative, because anything that you put to the other side of the equation just becomes a negative. Oh, sorry, a is equal to, let me just get this right there. A is equal to, just give me a second. Okay, so now we have a, which is going to be equals to 27, because 36 minus 9 is equal to 27. And that's our answer for this equation. Very simple, yeah? So let's move on to our final equation. 5 upon 3 times by t minus 2 minus 4 upon 5 times by 2t minus 5 is equal to 4 minus 3, 2 upon t minus 3. My gosh, this is kind of a large equation, and it would take some time to solve. But hang on, okay, we'll solve it together. First of all, let's get the distributive law working. So 5 upon 3 times by t, where did my t go? And 4 upon 5 times by 2 upon t, and then times by minus 5. Same here, 3 upon 2, minus 3 upon 2 times by t, and minus 3 upon 2 times by minus 3. Okay, so now that we have that here, now let's use the distributive law to expand the brackets. So 5 upon 3 times t is just going to be 5 upon 3 t minus 5 upon 3 times 2. Let me have the working out station here so it's easier for us. So 5 upon 3 times 2, well, that's just going to be 10 upon 3 because we can't cancel out the 3's and the 2's, so it will just become 10 upon 3. Now, moving on to our next part of the equation, minus 4 upon 5 times by 2t. Okay, so what we will do here is times 4 by 2, which is going to be 8t upon 5. And now, because we can cancel the 5's out, we can just make it minus 4 minus 20, which is just going to be minus 20. Sorry, positive 20, because negative and negative becomes positive. I'm sorry about that. Is equal to?
So wait, we're left with minus. We're left with 20. Left with 4.
Left with 4. Oh yes, we are left with 4. I'm sorry. Long equation and I got it wrong. So one mistake can make you get it wrong. I'm sorry. So we left with positive 4. And let me just make that upon 1. So 4 minus 3 upon 2 times by t minus 3. So what we need to do here is also use the distributive law. So 4 minus 3 upon 2t, because times by that is just going to be 3 upon 2t, and then negative and negative, it will become a positive, so it will become 9 over 2. Okay, now this equation has been expanded. Now we just need to solve it. So 5 upon t, let me just get the like terms, and I'll use a different color for the constants. Bam, and bam, and this will just remain as it is. Okay, so let me use the constants to find the to simplify the equation. So 5t upon 3 minus 8t upon 5. It will let me write that down. Minus 8t upon 5, which will become of 15 because that's the lowest common multiple, and times that by, because 3 times 5 is 15, we need to times 5 by 15 as 5 by 5 as well, which will become 25. And we need to, because 5 times 3 is 15, we need to times minus 8 by 3 as well, which will become minus 24. So that becomes t over 15. Okay, so now we have solved the t for the left hand side. Now let's just do minus 10 upon 3 positive 4 upon 1. So now we need to find the lowest common denominator, which is going to be 3, of course. And minus 10 is going to stay the same. And the positive, it will just become plus 12. So it's going to be minus 10 plus 12 is positive 2 upon 3. Okay, so now we have t upon 15 positive 2 upon 3 is equal to minus 3 upon 2t, and then 4 plus 9 upon 2, or 4 upon 1 plus 9 upon 2. Let me just solve that real quick. It will stay the same. The lowest common denominator will be 2, and 4 times 2 is 8 plus 9, which becomes 17 upon 2. So plus 17 upon 2. So now we'll get the constants on one side and the variables on one side. So t upon 15, and remember, anything, it's going to be 1t over 15. Anything which is just t or x, the number behind it will always be 1. So 1t positive, because negative turns to positive, 3 upon 2t is equal to 17 upon 2 minus 2 upon 3. Now what we need to do is find the lowest common multiple again. Let me just rub out my working out real quick so we can have some space to do more of the working out. Okay, so now that we have some space to do the working out, we can find, let's do the t's first. For 15 and 2, the lowest common multiple would be 30 because both of them have 30 in their multiples. So 15 times 2 is 30, so it will become 2t. So anything you do to the denominator has to be done to the numerator. Plus, because 2 times 15 is 30, we have to do 3 times 15 as well, which is 45. So 2t plus 45t upon 30, which will become 47t upon 30. Now let's do the right hand side, which will become the lowest common denominator will be 6. And to do that, we need to do 17 times 3, which is going to be 21, to carry over 51. 51 minus, and you need to do 4, so it's going to be 4. So 2 times 2 is 4 because 3 times 2 is 6, so 2 times 2 is 4. So 51 minus 4, which is going to be 67. 67 upon 6. Okay, now we have 47 upon t upon 30 upon is equal to 67 upon 6. So now what we need to do is get this 30 and times it by here because because it's getting divided here. So when it goes here, it just becomes a multiplication. So we can cancel out the 6 and the 30, which becomes 5, and we're left with 47t is equal to 67 times by 5, which is going to be 35 to carry over 30. Sorry, 30, 32, 325. And then we just makes it 325 upon 47 because is equal to t, and t becomes 47 upon 325. Tom, can you get the calculator and do that real quick?
That becomes an irrational number.
Okay.
So we get 325 over 47. But
Okay.
I've just spotted one mistake here.
Yeah.
51 minus 4 will equal 47 over 6, not 67. So
Oh,
should we go back?
Yeah, sorry. I'll rub that
Let's
out.
go
Sorry.
back.
Yeah. I am sorry, guys. 47 over 6. And we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. Get rid of this. So 47 over t. So 47 upon 6, you said, right? So 47 upon 6. So now that we just times it, so it will become 47 over t. And we do the same thing again. 47 over 6 times by 30. That cancel out. 5. So 47t is equal to 5 times 35. 3 carry over. 5 times 4 is 20, and 235. And as per the calculation, 235 upon 47 should be 5. Am I right?
Equal to 5. Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so that's all for today. Sorry for the last 2 mistakes, but it's math. There's always going to be mistakes, and you just need to figure them out.
And so long as you
can check your answers.
As long as you check your answer, there you go.
Yeah.
As long as you check your answer, you guys should be bang on. So that wraps up the video for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Please go like, subscribe, tell all your friends, comment down below for videos that you guys want us to create. And please, please, please go follow our Instagram page and please share it around with your mates. Cheers and have a good one.
See ya.